Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Bhagavad Pranam, Prabhuji.
Okay, so you're all ready to learn more now. Okay,
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Pranam. So,
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadadi Swapadandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sakagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaurabhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam, pangor langayate girim, yat kripatam aham vande, Shri Gurum Dinatarinam. Paramanandamata Shri Chaitanyameshwaram, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, so before we do this reading, we'll just go back to our previous class recap so that we're all clear. Right? Able to see my screen? Okay. So in the slokas till 5.17, Brahmaji started to speak to Narada in the aspects of creation. The first thing he talked about is the 5 elements which manifest from Vasudeva. Very clearly said, Vasudeva is the primary creator. He has done all the creation, all done. Just like what Krishna told Arjuna. Oh, Arjuna, I've killed everyone in the battlefield. We're just going to enact as if you are killing. But everything, all job done by me. So, similarly, the primary creation, the Lord completes off. And then he's asking Brahmaji to go into the minute aspect of it and do the formalities. So, in that context, we found there are 5 elements that we want to discuss. The first one we said was Dravyam. So, the first element of creation is Dravyam. Dravyam is, we understood from Bhagavad Gita chapter 7, Bhumirapo Nalavayu, Kam Mano Buddhi Revacha. Right? So, 5 gross elements is coming into Dravyam. Okay. Then, Karma. So, Karma is, we talked about transaction. And we talked about karma under the 5 aspects. One is any action is called karma, or it is all work. And karma also follows with reactions, right? Reactions could be proportionate in intensity and proportionate in dimension. Third, we talked about is fruitive action. That means karma will give you phala. The phala could be negative or positive. And that phala is what people aim in this material world. They go after this phala. Oh, I've done this, I need this, I deserve this. Right? So, and then comes the prescribed duties and action we talked about. Prescribed duties and action are according to our varna and ashrama. What are we perform as a duties, right? So then we talked about whole chain of reaction. So that's what we said, karma as such. Then kala. Kala is the one, is time. It is the time that moves the material events, the material nature. It makes the gunas to mix and act. So kala is the cause of activity. Kala is cause of karma, right? You can keep like that. Then swabhava is what we said as the mindset, the formation of the mindset due to our exposure to this material world, right? So, for example, if I'm exposed in a forest environment, that means I grew up in a forest, I lived in a forest, then you see my knowledge, my experiences with the world, my activities, my taste and desire. All these things are based on what I observe from my surroundings. So those store as impressions in the heart. These impressions are translated into wanting to enjoy, because that's a propensity and that becomes desire. The intelligence tells the mind how you can accomplish your desire. So mind controls the senses, and through the senses, the jiva or the living entity accomplishes what he wants, right? So this is svabhava. So svabhava is what sort of mindset, or how are we getting shaped up? What is our characteristics, right? So this happens because of the nature of contact that we get. So for example, we took the example of someone in the forest. Let's take someone we take in the city, or someone who we take in the military, someone who we take in harsh conditions like a desert. You see, the swabhava just varies. So similarly, in the city, a personality is different. In a village, a personality is different. An educated person, personality is different. An uneducated person, personality different. So like that, you can see this also swabhava gets shaped. Okay? And that is the one which is sitting over the layer of the consciousness. The consciousness is the binding factor between the living force or the prana, the living force, and the various aspects of the mind, the senses, and things like that, right? So the one that binds the consciousness, okay, we'll not go there. So the consciousness is the two factor. So that means the presence of consciousness in a particular body tells or certifies the presence of soul, the living force, in a particular body. And that living force is the jiva here. So we talked about these 5 elements. Then, in order to understand how this whole thing invented, we talked about how Advaita got manifested. Then we talked about people going into Vedic sacrifices and misusing these Vedic sacrifices by killing animals. So then we talked about advent of Buddha. Then we talked about Advent of Shankaracharya, because Buddha was taking away from Vedic scriptures, but Vedas are the way of life. So Krishna had to bring that back. So hence Shankara was sent. Because the Vedas are too deep-rooted, you cannot teach a PhD or engineering subject to a first standard student. So that was the consciousness or the knowledge level of the living entities. So hence Shankara came. He said, no, reintroduce Vedas. And in Vedas, he said everything is one, Advaitam. Then we talked about the advent of Ramanujacharya. Of course, in Advaitam, we also talked about how these Mayavadis have misused or misunderstood this Advaitam. We took the example of Sarvam Kalvidam Brahman, right? Everything is Brahman. Then from there, more detailing and clarity has to be given. We talked about advent of Ramanujacharya. So Ramanujacharya gave, no, there are 2 different entities. There is not single entity. So he talked about the Dvaitam, but he gave details of the Dvaitam by talking Vishishta Dvaitam. Okay. So Vishishta refers to, in one way it is Vishishta Dvaitam. So that refers to, no, there is difference between uh, the super soul and soul, or Brahman and Parabrahman, the living entity and Paramatma. So like that he said, both are living entity, but there is something special about that super soul, that super living entity. So that's what he said. But more detail came from Madhvacharya. He gave full detailed Dvaita philosophy, where he said, what it is not about two entities, but there is also some relationship, and there is a relationship in awe and reverence, there's a relationship in various rasas. So all those things started to get detailed out. Then came Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy of Achinta Beda Abeda Tattva. That gives you more clarity on the simultaneous oneness and differentiation between the living entity and the super soul. Right? So by this we understood that how the five elements or the five aspects of energies of the Lord simultaneously are one with the Lord and simultaneously separated from the Lord. We gave a lot of examples, then we understood that also. Then what we concluded was that since the detailing of the final understanding of our position with our Lord was given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through the Veda Abeda philosophy or Tattva. Since this Veda Abeda Tattva is very complicated, cannot be understood by ordinary living being, only under the practice of Bhakti Yoga, only under the association of devotees, only under the association and the mercy of a spiritual master, he can understand. Hence, it became Achinta Abeda Beda Tattva. Right? So that's why those words got coined. And hence we understood that if one is able to understand three aspects of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. First, who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? What is his purpose and what are his instructions? Second, his philosophy of Achinta Beda Beda Tattva. And then understanding that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Yuga Dharma, what one should practice and follow in the current aspects of devotion will completely get back to him, back to Godhead. Right? So now you can understand position of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay? So we understood all those things. Then we also understood Panchagni Vidya. That is the five kinds of offerings. And then what happens to those offerings? Then we talked about the entire cycle of someone performing a yajna with sacrifice, what happens and how does he results in birth in this Martyaloka, whatever form that he gets. The child here does not refers to just a human child, it refers to child of any living being. Okay. So this we understood. So I hope you went through the purports also. Now what shall we do is we'll go into the next section. So this section is going to add more complexity to what we learned, but unless you're going to patiently listen, you're not going to get this. Today, what we will do is we will see precursor to the creation called Mahatattva. How did Mahatattva happen? Okay. How did Brahmaji explain this to Naradaji? That's what we're going to see now. And while he explains the Mahatattva, so the total slokas are going to be like this. Sloka number 18 is going to define how the jiva entered this world. Okay. Then after entering this world, sloka 19 is going to tell what is the construct of life of a jiva in this world. Okay. Then from 21, sloka number 21 to 35, the entire Mahatattva, that means the creation, both Sarga and Visarga, will be explained. So today what we will do is, we will try to complete sloka number 18, 19 and 20. And then 21 onwards till 35, I have created a concise report. We will go through this entire report, step by step, philosophically, theoretically, and the pictorial representation will understand this Mahatattva. Once you understand then Mahatattva, very clear, you have to read all the purports. Then in the next class, we'll just go through reading of those purports from 21 to 35. You'll be perfectly understood. So this is the method that I'm going to follow. So this way, we will know how beautifully Lord creates this material universe. And today's conclusion is going to be very important. Why Lord did something like this? Okay. And what is that Lord wants us from? Lord wants us to do. So these two summary take home we will do, and that way we'll be very clear. What is the purpose of material world and why am I existing here? Okay. Sounds good?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, excellent. So now let's go into the sloka number 18. Okay. So reading from Canto to chapter 5, text 18. Sattvam rajastama iti nirgunasya gunastrayah sthiti sarga nirodeshu grihita mayaya vibhuhu. Okay. Now, let's understand this sloka a little bit more detailedly. Okay. Sattvam, Rajas, Tamas. So, these are the three modes of ignorance, gunas, or the three modes of the Maya Shakti. Now, where does this come from? Who's the cause of these three modes of nature? That is Nirgunasya. So, Nirgunasya means what? A person who created these three gunas, that is Sattvam, Rajas, Tamas, but he is unaffected by those three gunas. Why? Because these three gunas are gunas on the material plane. So, Nirgunasya refers to the Lord who is unaffected by these three modes of material nature. Hence, is called Nirguna. Okay. People misrepresent this word Nirguna as Lord without qualities. Now, that is very, very contradictory because one side we are saying, I am son of that Lord. I am children of that Lord. But I am with full of qualities. How is that the creator of mine is without qualities? For example, Lord created this nature. Look at this nature. So many qualities. How you can say Lord is without qualities? So it's impossible. So the Lord does not possess material qualities. He possesses spiritual qualities. Okay? So gunastraya means those three gunas. Right? So Lord is not affected. Though Lord is the creator, the cause of Sattam, Rajas, Tama, he is completely unaffected. He is aloof from those three material nature. Okay. Now look at this. And why does he create these three gunas? Sthiti. Sthiti means to maintain. Sarga. Sarga means primary creation. Okay. Nirodeshu. Nirodeshu means destruction. So here destruction refers to contextual. For the sun is rising, the sun is setting. You can say sun is rising as, oh, today sun got created. The sun went down, you can say sun got destructed. You can say in that way also. Or you can say sun appeared and disappeared. So when you say appeared and disappeared, that means he's present, but it's not visible to me. That's what it means. So hence that Nirodeshu is destruction in one context and unmanifestation in one context. So why is destruction? Destruction of this gross body, but the subtle body and the soul remains. So it is contextual reference. What are you referring to? Are you referring to the body or the soul or the entirety? That's why Nirdeshu takes two meanings. Okay. Then Grihita, Mayaya Vibhuhu. So Grihita means Lord who's accepted. Who's accepted this material energy, and with this material energy, he has done all this activity. That's what Brahmaji is telling Naradaji. Okay, let's read the translation. So Supreme Lord is pure, is spiritual form, transcendental to all the material qualities. That's what Nirgunasya means. Okay. So transcendental to material qualities means any of the material elements or the qualities do not affect the transcendental Lord. That's what it means. Okay. Similarly, Brahmaji, his swabhava is goodness, but he's in charge of passion. That means he uses that energy to create. But that passionate as energy does not affect him. Okay. So similarly, Shiva is in mode of goodness, but he induces tamoguna on others. But that induction of tamoguna does not affect him. That's the same thing. Okay. Yet for the sake of creation of this material world and its maintenance and annihilation, he accepts through his external energy the three modes of material nature called passion, ignorance, and goodness. Right? So this is the position of the Lord. So if tomorrow if someone cares, nirhara, nirguna, you can very clearly tell them this is not the way you understand. It is not referring to the qualities of the Lord. It is referring to what the Lord is acting upon. Right? So that's how you answer that. Now let's read the purport. So someone who can read these yellow lines.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hmm.
The Supreme Lord is the master of the external energy manifested by the three material modes, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. And as master of this energy, he is ever unaffected by the influence of such bewildering energy. The living entities, the jivas, however, are affected by or susceptible or being influenced by such modes of material nature. That is the difference between the Lord and the living entities. The living entities are subjected by those qualities, although originally the living entities are qualitatively one with the Lord.
Excellent. So you see the point? We get affected by those qualities, but the Lord is beyond those qualities. That is one of the big difference between us and the Lord. Okay? Okay. Read the other yellow line also.
The Supreme Lord is the controller of the material energy, whereas the living entities who are entangled in the material world are neither masters nor controllers. Rather, they become subordinate to or controlled by such energy.
So they get controlled by that such energy. So which is the sloka we learned from Bhagavad Gita chapter 7 about how he gets controlled by this energy and how he can come out of that energy.
Daivi Esha Gunamayi Mamamai
Duratya. Mam eva ye prapadyante. If he surrenders onto me, then those three gunas won't affect him, which means he can cross this material ocean and come back to me. Right? So that's what the Lord also tells. So the living entity has a choice. As a choice, he can live under the influence of the material energy, or as a choice, he can live outside of the influence of the material energy. That is the position of the living entities. Okay? Okay. So we'll go to the next sloka, 5.19. Now I'll just take you to this Word document just to explain the sloka number 18. Okay. So in sloka number 18, you see, the Lord controls the trigunas with his Maya Shakti. Okay. He controls the trigunas with his Maya Shakti. Then what happens? The three modes control the jiva by binding them. Why is the jiva get bound to them? We will see that. Because jiva gets bound to those three modes of energy, the jiva cannot perceive the Lord. Right? So, so it is like this. The cause of all these things is attachment. Right? Now, look at the difference between us and the Lord. Okay. Now, let's say we created a small business unit, or we create some clothing. We created any small element. Do you know we get so much attached to it? We want to claim, I am the creation. I am the one who created this dinner prasad, the lunch prasad. I am the one who created this object. We get so much attached to our activities in this material world, even though it's very, very small and insignificant. So this is called attachment. Now look at the difference between us and the Lord. A small thing also, we are not ready to be detached, right? Take, for example, your service. Now, one of you is given the service to, let's say, decorate the Lord. For some reason, that service is taken away from you and given to someone else. You see, how can you take that away from me? It belongs to me. I am the expert in it. I am the one who does it every Monday. You see, whether it's an activity or a service or a thing or our identity is so much attached to it. One small statement, we are so disturbed. We cry, we get into emotions. We make big noise about it. So that is our state. Now let's look at Lord. Lord creates all these entire anda, solar system, this Bhumandala, everything he creates. The 14 stacks of planetary system. And within this planetary system, he created unlimited living entities. See, look at us. We somehow create one Bhakti Vriksha group. We get so attached to the members. Hey, they're my team members, my members. If anyone goes out of the group or comes into the group, we're so much affected. Why? We're so attached. But the Lord created unlimited living entities into this material world, yet he is unattached. The Lord created so much in the material world, health, yet is detached. He is not at all attached. See, that is the beauty of difference between Lord's consciousness and our consciousness. I hope you will be able to appreciate this. Then you will know what is our problem. Because of our attachment to things in the material plane, be it objects, remember these three things of attachment. Attachment to objects. Objects could be your assets, your house, your dress, your whatever it may be, attached to objects. Attachment to service. Service here refers to activities on the material plane and activities on the spiritual plane. Attachment to services. And third, attachment to identity. I am. About me. Oh, ನೋಡಿ ಒಂದು ಪೋಸ್ಟರ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ವೇರ್ ಸಮ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟೀಸ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ನನ್ನ ಫೋಟೋ ಹಾಕಿಲ್ಲ ಇವ್ರ ಫೋಟೋ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಡಿ see so much attachment to the identity of ours, right? Because we have three attachments, the Maya binds us. Maya binds us to this material world. Says, yeah, you're so much attracted to me, I'm also attracted to you, let's live together. That's what Maya is telling us. And hence, it tightly ropes us with the three gunas and holds us. Okay? Now, the Jiva is looking only at the Maya. He is bewildered at the Maya. Oh, you're controlling me. I can't get out of you. You know how is that? For example, we have this body, we maintain this body well, without any diseases or anything like that. And we are doing our sadhana, bhakti yoga, services, everything. Now, one day we get unwell. Body pain, disturbances, difficulties, medicines going to our body, some surgery, things like that. You see, at that time, you think for yourself, you must so bodily consciousness, what's happening to my body? What's happening to me? I'm going to live or not? What will happen next? We forget the Lord. We forget the activities of the Lord. So similarly, Jiva being bonded with a rope of Maya, he cannot perceive the Lord. He cannot understand the Lord. So this is the problem of Jiva. Okay? So now we will go to the next sloka. 5.19. Karya karna kartritve dravya jnana kriyashrayah badnanti nityada muktam mayinam purusham gunaha. Okay, now let's look at this sloka. This is a very
Not see the purport, Prabhu, the display.
Oh, I'm not displaying? Okay. Sorry. Okay, now you're able to see, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Karya karana kritratve dravya jnana kriyashrayah Badnanti nityada muktam mayinam purusham guna. So look at the one-to-one meaning of this. Karya is effect, karana is cause. Kartritve is activities. Dravya is material, jnana knowledge. Kriya ashraya is manifested by such symptoms. We'll read the translation. These three modes of material nature being further manifested as matter. Okay, so we have three gunas is getting manifested into matter. Knowledge and activities put the eternally transcendental living entity under conditions of cause and effect and make him responsible for such activities. Let me read this again. The three modes of material nature being further manifested into matter. That means whatever matter we are seeing in this world around, the cause of this matter is three modes of material nature. Okay? This matter constitutes of knowledge. It also has activities because we do action, right? Now, what does this do? The trigunas and this matter together, what they do? They put the transcendental living entity, that is the Jivatma, under the condition of cause and effect. What is the cause and effect? An activity, the result of that activity. Karma and karma's fruitive action. Because he does that into that situation, it makes him responsible for that such activity. That means the jiva becomes responsible for performing an action and the results of that action. Between these two, between karma and karma's result, he gets bonded. Because there is continuous karma, continuous results. So at the time of death, our Shastra tells if someone is without karma, he'll go back home, back to Godhead. But where are we? Because we are doing karma, we are always bonded with activity, results of that activity. So hence we have to live here, take birth again and again and again. So Prabhupada writes akarma. Devotees should practice not karma, should practice akarma, which does not result in any bondage. That is what Prabhupada is trying to tell. Okay. So now I will go back to this Word document now. Let's see what are we going to learn from this Word document. Okay. So now let's see here the same sloka, karya karana kritartve. It means karya refers to the body. Okay. The effect or the work. So when we do an work, which is the effect, and the karana is referring to the senses. The senses are the cause of our work, right? An example is, if I perceive good smell, the senses are the cause now. Because of the good smell, I'm going to do an action. For example, I may smell a jackfruit halwa, a jackfruit. Wow, smell is so good. What if I make an halwa and eat out of this? So, karana, that results in karya. Okay, but how does a karana results in a karya? How does the sense of the smell of this nose concludes to do that action? Because of the mind. So mind is the common portion which connects all these things, right? So the kartartve refers to the mind, is the doer. He is using the senses, he is employing the senses to give that result. And why is he doing it? Because of karya. Okay, so is this clear? Karya karna kartartve. Okay. Now let's look at the next line. Dravya jnana kriyashraya. Now what is dravya? Dravya is matter. We talked about that. In the previous also, here also we talked about dravya. Dravya is material elements. Okay. Now, dravya is the material elements. Now, kriyashraya refers to who is the one who is making or enabling that to happen. Okay. So, for example, if I just move my hands like this, the mind is making sending the signals to the hand as a sense organ, to do it, but somewhere energy, ability to do it should happen. And that is empowered by the Devata. That means there's a hand Devata, which is understanding the mind wants to move the hand, and it is giving the Shakti for the hand to move. And hence, the Devata refers to the Kriya Shariha. Now, where are they trying to get this knowledge? How are the Devatas using the matter, making this to happen is because of the senses. So here, Jnana refers to the senses. Okay? So, Dravya Jnana Kriya Shreya refers to this Dravya. For example, we talked about Karya. Karya is what? The work that is happening. The work will happen with the elements that are we doing it. So, we can do a Karya only with certain elements. The elements can be gross or subtle, but with those elements, you will do the activity. Okay? Karana is the cause. And how the senses are acting? Because of some impressions, knowledge that it acquired. We talked about here. We talked about Svabhava. The mindsets, desire, and impression. So that's the same thing here. Okay. Then, now the mind is the doer. The senses are influenced by the mind in order to acquire some impressions and detailing. And it is going to use these material elements and perform the action. Okay, so we know the role of mind, we know the role of senses, we know the role of the activity, and it is done by this material elements. But who is the one standing behind to do all these things? The Iha Devatas. So those are called the enablers. And that's what this sloka is trying to tell. Right? Okay. Now, if you look at the Devatas, so for example, see for hearing, for hearing, the Soma Devata is the one who does it. That means you may have ear, you may have sound, but for the ear to hear that sound, someone has to act. So how to do this? For example, I have a tape record. Okay. The tape record has two aspects. One has got a speaker, one's got a sound. A mic. Okay. It's got a speaker and a mic. And there is sound that is existing. Or I may even speak to the mic. Now, let's say there's no electricity power. Even though speaker is existing, even though mic is existing, even though sound is existing, still you cannot see that the mic can transmit that sound and the speaker can produce it. Yes? Even though I have the mic, even though I have the speaker, even though I'm speaking the mic, the speaker is not producing that sound. It's not. Why? Electricity is absent. Okay. The presence and absence of electricity cannot be perceived. So, like that hearing is an object. Sound is existing all around. The hearing should take the sound signals, send it to the mind, and it can be perceived. That is done by the Soma Devata. That's what it says. Okay. So, similarly for touch by Kubera, by sight by Surya, taste by Varuna, smell by Ashwinis. So, this is the meaning of this understand Karya Shraya. So, it is the Devatas who make everything in our body to function, to act, to do this. So, you see, without the mercy of the Devatas empowerment by the Lord, we cannot even live in this world. It is so powerful. Okay. Now, look at this sloka, this line now. Badnanti nityada muktam. Nityada muktam means what? Who's nityam? Nityam is the soul. He can attain mukta. Mukta means moksha, liberation. Okay? But he is not able to do that because he is, instead of getting practicing spirituality, he is bound. He is bound to these material elements. Okay, so here Purusham refers to the soul, it doesn't refer to the Lord. So this Purusha, because of his influence, because this Purusha is bound by Nitya, so hence what happened, his bounding is done by the three gunas, which is manifested by this Maya Shakti. He is not able to perceive the transcendental. He is not able to understand how can I get liberated? How can I get out of this bonding? Right? So that's what this sloka is trying to tell. So, as far as the soul is associated with Maya, he is bound, and he is bound because he is bound, he does his activities, and these activities are caused by the desires which arouse through the senses, and the mind, empowered by the devatas, are doing this entire whole cause and effect scenario for us. Because we are not realizing transcendence beyond this material bondage, we keep taking birth, and death, time and again and again. So that's the meaning of 5.19. So I've given a pictorial representation. Now look at this image. There is sun and there is a human being. This human being, because he is facing the sun, there is a shadow. Okay, so you can even understand like this. Okay. For example, you see this as a sun. You can see my hand also. This duster is the sun and this is the living entity. Now this living entity is seeing the sun. Now sun is Krishna. So the sun is full of light, bliss, knowledge, and activity. So behind this pencil, like this portion of the man behind, is the shadow. So there's a shadow. Shadow is the ignorance. So now this living entity, rather than facing towards the sun, he is facing towards the shadow. And that is the Maya Shakti. So, as far as a living entity like us, if we keep turning ourselves against Krishna, we are only going to face towards ignorance. If we face towards Krishna, then we are not going to face towards ignorance, but we're going to face towards knowledge, bliss, and eternity. So this is what is important. So now you can see what binds the living entity. Okay? So we'll go back to the subject now. So can someone read the highlights?
Shall I,
Hare
Prabhu?
Krishna.
Yeah, one of you.
I will continue, Prabhu. This external energy of the Lord covers up the pure knowledge of the living entities eternally existing with him. But the covering is so constant that it appears that the conditioned soul is eternally ignorant.
Yeah.
Shall I continue, Prabhu?
Ah, by the
By the covering power of the material energy, the material scientist cannot look beyond the material causes, but factually behind the material manifestations, there are Adi Bhuta, Adi Adhyatma, and Adi Deva actions.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll read. The Adibhuta manifestation entails repetition of birth and death with old age and disease. The Adhyatma manifestation conditions the spirit soul, and the Adideva manifestation is the controlling system. Right? So Adideva manifestation by the controlling system means we are always eternally controlled by the Devatas. The Adi Atma manifestation conditions the spirit soul means the spirit soul identifies itself with the Trigunas, and so it conditions it Adi Atma, myself. It conditions the spirit soul that you are part of this material world. You become a Nitya Baddha. Adibhuta manifestation, because it's conditioned now, the Adibhuta, that is the living entity, goes through the same four things of birth, death, old age, and disease. It doesn't do anything else. So that's what the sloka is entitling us. Okay. Are we
Hare
okay?
Krishna,
Are
Prabhu.
you able to understand? Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, this Adi Daiva, Adhyatma, and Adi Bhuta, they're also referred as the sources of miseries, no, Prabhu?
See, anything in this material world is source of misery. There's no difference. Once you get bondage with ignorance, which is trigunas, it is going to be source of misery. Whichever flavor you take. Okay. The source of miseries are categorized under three, but all of them are source of misery.
Okay. But in this context, it is different, I think. This is what you have
No,
mentioned.
no. Here it tells.
Hmm.
Here it tells when the soul cannot. When the soul is conditioned, and it is associating with ignorant energy, it cannot see anything beyond it. So it just goes through, four stages of birth, death, old age, and disease, and continues repeated birth in this place. And that aspect of ignorant acting on him is called Adiputta. And the act of ignorance of conditioning myself is Adya. The act of ignorance that I don't even know, I'm just be controlled by a devata. Whatever he does, I have to do. I don't have any scope. That is Aditya. That's what it refers to here.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. So, for example, Prabhu, you are going to office and you have to just stand. You have to write means someone will come, take your hand, they use your hand to write on the wall. You have to eat means someone will feed you into your mouth and press your stomach to digest. You have to walk means someone will take your leg to put it forward and you will walk. That is our state. And that's what it means.
Got it.
Okay. Okay. Is it understandable so far? Were you able to understand the sloka detail I shared on the Word document? Are you able to understand this?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Okay. So you understood this picture?
Yes, Prabhu.
So now what we'll do is we'll go to the next
But,
sloka. Yeah.
but when we face the sun,
Hmm.
the shadow will not form, no, Prabhu. When we are away from the sun, the
So when you face the sun, shadow forms, but you are identifying with the sun and not with the shadow. But when you turn back, the sun and the shadow continues to exist. Instead of identifying yourself with the sun, you're identifying with the shadow. So the identity, what you're accepting, is the key cause here.
with what we are identifying ourselves.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Prabhu, I understand like this, Prabhu, what Mataji has asked. If I am facing the sun, I don't see my shadow. Although there is a shadow, I don't see my
I
shadow.
don't see. Yeah, correct. It may
So-
exist, it doesn't matter. That means you will live in this material world because you're fully transcendental and spiritual. This material world does not affect you,
Yes, yes.
right? And that's what when we say a spiritual master, right? When we talk about glories of a spiritual master, we see the spiritual master, even though he may look like us, hands, legs, physical appearance, talk to us, things like that, but because he doesn't identify himself with the material energy, he's fully transcendental.
Yeah.
Because he's fully transcendental, we are able to take his vigraha or the picture and keep him next to the Lord on the altar, who is also transcendental. Okay, now you understand? Krishna?
Yes, Prabhu, yes, Prabhu.
Okay, good. So now let's go to we have to do Mahatattva, which is
Hare
next.
Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, in other words, when we sun, we
Your voice is breaking. Prabhu, I'm not able to hear.
Muted, Prabhu. He got muted.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, your voice is breaking and it's muted. Okay, you type your question, Prabhu. We will not lose time now. Okay. 5.20. Sayesha Bhagava Lingais Tribir Yete Adokshajah Swalakshita Gatir Brahman Sarvesha Mama Cheshwaraha. O Brahmana Narada, the supersede, the transcendent Lord is beyond the perception of the material senses of the living entity because of the above mentioned three modes of nature. But he is the control of everyone, including me. Okay, so Brahmaji is talking about three things. Brahmaji said that the Lord is beyond the three modes of nature, though he is the creator. He creates the three modes of nature, but is unaffected. The living entity, he says all living entities, including me. That means he is also telling I am subordinate. Now, in the previous condition, we talked about position of living entity, the position of Paramatma. Now he's telling I am not in the category of Paramatma, I am in the category of living entity. I am a Jivatma. He says the Jivatma, by the conditioning of these three modes of nature, lead a life like this. What life? That means they cannot perceive beyond the transcendental, the material senses. Okay? So, because they cannot perceive beyond the material senses, they cannot see the Lord. They cannot perceive the Lord. But actually, he is the one who's controlling, including me, is what he is telling you. Okay? So, now even though there is a line, what we're talking about is very simple. See, there are three steps you please understand. First is the Lord himself, the Vigraha, Krishna. From Krishna manifest Brahmajyoti, that is the light. This Brahmajyoti's presence, lightens the entire spiritual world. The spiritual world is illuminated not by a tube light or not by a sun or anything. No. It completely illuminates by the Brahmajyoti that comes from the Lord. Okay. This Brahmajyoti can obstruct the vision of a devotee by not able to see the Lord. How? For example, if I see the sun planet, the brightness is so much that I can't see the Surya Bhagavan. Like that, this Brahmajyoti effulgence is so strong that I'm not able to see the Lord. Why am I not able to see the Lord? Because of my impurity of my vision. Okay? But once my devotion, my bhakti yoga, my sharanagati has been purified, then this Brahmajyoti, rather than creating an opaque layer, it creates a transparent layer. The Brahmajyoti becomes transparent to us. That means we can see the Lord. This is what Kunti Marane also prays in the 8th chapter of Canto 1. She says, "Oh Lord, your activities are so amorous and glorious. I'm not able to see because of my impurity in devotion." Okay? So this is what Brahmajyoti does. Now, what does the Yogamaya and Mahamaya does? For example, Yogamaya is the cause of manifestation of this entire spiritual world. The Yogamaya is the cause of various other energies that causes activities in the spiritual world. Okay? Yogamaya is fully transcendent. The personification of Yogamaya in our Bhauma Vrindavana, in our material world, is represented by Paurnamasi, who is the planner, and Vrindadevi, who is the execution for performing of Radha and Krishna pastimes. That is Yogamaya. Okay. Now think of this Yogamaya as an energy of the Lord which gives us spiritual happiness. So we are not taking shelter of Yogamaya because we want to enjoy, we want to be conditioned. We want to be identified ourselves with these three gunas. And hence that Yoga Maya becomes an energy which completely makes us to forget Krishna. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivisto. I live in your heart as Paramatma. Matta smriti jnanam apoganam cha. That means knowledge of remembrance, knowledge of forgetfulness. They both come from me to you. You can choose what you want. You want to remember me or you want to forget me. If you choose to forget me, I'll facilitate that. I'll give you Maya Shakti onto you, Trigunas. If you want to remember me, then you can associate with me through Yoga Maya Shakti. This is what the difference means. So this is what you have to very clearly understand. Okay. So far it's clear now. So we're going to the next deeper subject, which is 5.21 to 35, which is the Mahat Tattva. So we will see, we'll just read the sloka. Kalam karma swabhavam cha mayesha mayayasvaya atman yadrichaya praptam vibhugushur upadade. The Lord, who is the controller of all energy, thus creates by his own potency. What does he create? Kalam, eternal time. The fate of the living entities, karma, and their particular nature. What is their qualities, nature, swabhava? Okay? For which they are created, he again merges them independently. So what does the independently here refers to? That means all the material ingredients are created. The jiva is not created. He didn't say jiva created. He created all the material elements, but the jiva is also independent, separate. So now there are 24 material elements and there's jiva. They're all separate. How do you understand the separate? So now let's say I want to make sambar. Okay. So sambar, what I did, I took 3-4 vegetables. I cut them into pieces. Then I took water. Then I took tur dal, took salt. Then I took ograne, ghee, sasve, all those things. Everything is separate now. Okay? Then the Lord says, he again merges them independently. So Lord, by his causeless mercy, brought them together. Just like how we got all together. If you just put all these together in water, sambar will not happen. Sambar will happen only when you keep this in fire and stir. So you see, beyond all these things, there is a doer, and that causes all these elements that he created to get together and form an activity. This concept is called Srishti or Sarga, creation of the primary aspect. This Brahmaji does not create. This is created by the Lord. That's what Brahmaji is explaining to Naradaji. Is this example clear to you? So now we'll see what is this Sarga and Nisarga means. Okay.
Prabhu, can you repeat once, Prabhu? And what is Pradhana, Prabhu?
Pradhana is this material world.
Material world.
Yeah. Okay. So now we will see what is the purpose of creation. There are two types of creation. One is called Sarga, which is primary. Now, whatever I explained, this creation of this material ingredients is primary. That is Sarga. Who does this? Lord does this. Mixing together also Lord does. Then after mixing together, performing the activity on each of the living entity is Visarga. That is what Brahmaji does. Okay. So there are two concepts that we want to understand. One is called Karya Srishti and one is called Karana Srishti. Okay. So Karana Srishti means creation of the ingredients. The material ingredients has to be created. How did God created? When Karanodaksha Vishnu sleeping on the casual ocean, he did the breathing. When the breathing happened, one anda got created. So this anda has all these elements. That means Krishna is the Karanodakshaya Vishnu. Karanodakshaya is the cause. He is cause of all these ingredients that are getting created. Okay. Then Karya Srishti. Karya Srishti is, okay, now some rules and regulations, some electricity, all those things need to be passed inside. Then they will start to function. That is called processing of ingredients. That is activity. Okay. So this creation is what you have to understand. Karya Srishti and Karana Srishti. Karana is the original ingredients, creation of them. That is Karana Srishti. Karya Srishti is activities on those ingredients. So this is what you have to understand now. Okay, so now what I'll do is I've created an Excel sheet. Let's go here. Okay. Is this Excel sheet good to see for you?
Not visible, Prabhu.
Oh, I'm not sharing. Okay. Yeah. Now is it clear? You want
Yes,
more?
visible, Prabhu.
Yes, yes, Prabhu.
One
Yes,
more
Prabhu.
bigger in size?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So we'll reduce this a little bit. Okay. So this is better? So what we will do?
Yes, Prabhu. Very clear, Prabhu.
Yes, so I'll just...
Very clear.
Right side is missing, Prabhu.
That's all is there. Whatever you're seeing is that's all is there. Okay. Oh God, what is this? Yeah. Okay. So now this is fine now. So now we have Mahavishnu, the Karnodaksha Vishnu. Okay. From his the cause happens. Now let's go. Maybe I shall do this also. I'll just do a little bit formatting so that you're able to see this. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we'll just go to the top. So now, just remember whatever we discussed in the previous explanations. So what did Mahavishnu do? Here we will keep Mahavishnu as the word. Otherwise, from a contextual meaning, Garbhodaksha Vishnu. Okay. So what did Garbhodaksha Vishnu? He created one. Give me a second. Okay. So now let's pay attention here. So Krishna, so Mahavishnu is called Swamsa. Swamsa refers to to create anything, for example, now let's say a man wants to create a child, he has to associate with a female. So that means only with certain association he can do some creation. Mahavishnu does not need any association. He himself alone, he can do the creation. Okay. So now what we talked about in the previous sloka, all the elements have been created. Now what does he do? He impregnates. We took the example of Sambar. Right? So to the Trigunas, he impregnates by just his glance. When Garbhodaksha Vishnu glances at the Trigunas, then what happens? The activity begins. Right? So we talked about example of Sambar. We said all the ingredients are there. Water also poured, but why Sambar is not happening? It's because you have to keep that in a stove with fire and someone has to stir it. Right? So similarly, I'll take a seed, a banyan tree seed. The banyan tree seed is in the store. It's completely in the store, nicely packed. Can it sprout? Can it sprout and become a tree? It cannot. It will be as a seed only. Now, I have soil and I have microbacterial activity in the soil. There are fertilizers in the soil and I have water. And I have sunlight. Even though all of them are separate, you see the banyan tree cannot manifest. So now what a farmer does, he takes the banyan tree, puts into the soil, puts all the fertilizer ingredients, pour water, and when sunlight passes on it becomes a tree. So that means in an unmanifested state or in a neutral state, no activity can happen. That's what you have to understand. Is this clear? So what does the Lord do? The Lord, by his glancing, by his vision, he impregnates. Impregnate means gives life. So when he sees that material ingredients being created, he induces it with three elements. One is kala, time. When the Lord glances these material ingredients, he induces three things. The first is called kala, it gives time. Then karma, then swabhava. So swabhava we talked about, karma we talked about, kala also we talked about. So he induces with three things. And with these three things, it results in what is called as material nature. Okay. This material nature is also called pradhana. Now, this material nature are in the inactive state. Inactive state, you can say they're yet to be mixed. Okay. So, what the Lord does is, the pradhana, this material nature, when it combines with kala, time, please see carefully, when this material pradhana, when it combines with kala, which one of the aspects of his glance, it results in mahattattva. Yes, probably. No, 15 minutes ago. Can you call them? Sorry. Okay, so time, when it mixes with pradhana, it activates the three modes of material nature. When it activates three modes of material nature, pradhana with kala, it results in mahatattva. So mahatattva has got three elements. The first mahatattva element is the mahatattva in sattva, that means in goodness. Then in rajas, then it also creates ahankara, which is tamoguna. Okay? Let me repeat again. Pradhana, when it mixed with Kala, it results in Mahatattva, and Mahatattva results in three modes. It exists in three modes. Mahatattva in Saptaguna, Mahatattva in Rajoguna, and in Tamoguna as called as Ahankara. So Ahankara is identification. Now what identification? When Ahankara is in Tamoguna, then the identification is in false. And hence it is called as false identity or false ego. When the Ahankara is in goodness, then it is true ego, true identification. Okay, so that's what it means. Now then what happens? This Ahankara again mixes with the three modes of material nature. Why it mixes with three modes of material nature? This Ahankara is now currently as a false identity. Now what is a false identity? False identity is, it is telling, I do not know Krishna. I am here as I am the controller. I am here as an enjoyer. Since I am forgetfulness of Krishna, this Ahankara is in Tamoguna. Now, when Ahankara, Tamoguna, now what does it do? It mixes with the Swabhava. That is the three modes of nature. Goodness, passion, and ignorance. Now what happens? When Ahankara, so we are talking about, here it is Mahatattva now. Mahatattva, how did it manifest? When Kala, time, mixes with this material nature which is called Pradhana, it resulted in Mahatattva. Tattva means truth. Mahatattva means the truth of this material world. This material world has three symptoms. The first symptom is in goodness, the second symptom in passion, the third symptom in ignorance. So this Mahatattva, it once again mixes with the three modes of material nature, which is goodness, passion, and ignorance, and the cause is like this. The first is, when Ahankara mixes with goodness, it results in Jnana Shakti. Okay, so what is Jnana Shakti? Jnana Shakti is wisdom. So in this material world, you see, now we are in false ego. So each of us are in false ego. What is a false ego? That I think I am this body, I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, I am the controller. Okay, but still I am using my wisdom, my knowledge. My knowledge acquired by systematic study of certain subjects. So I got Jnana Shakti. So this wisdom has two types now. Now when I have pure wisdom, I will see that I will perform certain activities that are philanthropic in nature, that are good for the people and things like that. And sometimes I use this wisdom in an improper manner. Then you see that I commit sinful activities and reactions. So both are wisdom. Okay. But when we have wisdom in the right context, which is mode of goodness, you see I'm a good man. I can perform very good activities, and that's what we result in. Right? Adi Daiva. That means we talked about Adi. Who's Adi Daiva? Adi Daivas are influenced by Devatas. Right? So when a person who acts with wisdom, he is acting on the platform of Jnana Shakti, and because of the influence of Adi Devata, Iha Devatas, we get 10 senses. These are called not 10 senses, these are called 10 sense Devatas. So we talked about this example. What is the example? We gave the example, if you want to hear an object, if you want to hear sound, it is not that I possess ears or not. If I want to hear something, even though sound is present, even though my ears are present, even though my mind is present, only if the Soma Devata gives me that empowerment, I can hear. So, with wisdom and goodness, the Adi Deva acts on us. And that results in 10 sense devatas, and those are the 10 sense devatas are listed here. With Soma, we are able to hear. With Kubera, we are able to touch. With Surya, we are able to see. With Varuna Devata, we can taste. With Ashwinis, we can smell. You see, our 5 Jnanendriyas, Karmendriyas, behind them, these Iha Devatas are acting. Right? So I'll go back to Pradhana creation. So we had material elements, ingredients created. We have the Trigunas created. Then we have certain living entities who are empowered like Devatas. So all three are getting mixed up by the glance of the Lord. That is the cause of material formation. So when we are performing an action in our life, you can see this is the mercy of the 10 Devatas. For example, our genitals, which are used for progeny, it is the mercy of Daksha Devata. When we malam, when we want to go away, that is by Yama Devata. The feet, when the feet needs to walk, it is by the cause of Rudra Devata. So you can see the role of Devata in this. And how these role of Devatas act? Because Ahankara, Mahatattva, mixes with mode of goodness, it produces Jnana Shakti. That is the wisdom. By wisdom, we act. Okay? So hence we get the mind and the 10 sense devatas. Now, Ahankara, when it mixes with passion, that means this Ahankara is Ahankara Mahatattva. When it mixes with passion, it results in Kriya Shakti. So in Kriya means what? Kriya is to perform an act. Okay? So to perform an act, we need 10 senses, the 5 Jnanendriyas and 5 Karmendriyas. What is Jnanendriyas? Jnana objects, sense objects. What is Karmendriyas are like your legs, hands, things that do action, right? So these 10 senses are formed. Now prana refers to something like this. We have a soul, and then we have these subtle body, which is mind, intelligence, false ego. Then we have gross body, which is earth, ether, fire, air, all those elements. Now there is a connection between the soul and the subtle body. And that connection is called consciousness. Okay. So this consciousness in other terms is called prana, or in other terms you can call it as the binding force between the soul and the material bodies, the 3 and the 5 gross and subtle elements. So that is called prana. So creation of that prana, and that is what makes the soul to bound into this body, right? The 10 senses that we have, and intelligence. Now something very intelligent you can see here. We read false ego is the finest, and then next is intelligence and mind. That means finer than the mind is intelligence, finer than the intelligence is the false ego. Then how come mind is produced out of goodness and intelligence produced out of passion? This is because of very simple activity. There are 2 kinds of intelligence. One is called spiritual intelligence and material intelligence. Okay, what is material intelligence? Today you can see scientists. What great things they're creating this technology in dental, not dental, what is it? Medical, in civil engineering. So much of innovation is going on in this material world. This is all coming out of our material intelligence. On the other hand, you'll see there are many devotees who are practicing spiritual life. And that spiritual life, they are doing phenomenal things, right? You can see people are writing books. giving superb lectures. They're doing fantastic spiritual, practices. How this intelligence comes? That means there are spiritual intelligence and material intelligence. Because there's so much of innovativeness, the intelligence is a factor of passion. Mind is sober. Whatever you tell the mind, it will do. And hence the mind is a derivative of goodness. This is how you understand this. Okay. Then comes the third. Third is Dravya Shakti. Dravya Shakti is what is fully ignorant. If you take earth, ether, fire, water, it's fully ignorant. This material world is fully ignorant. So all the elements, like you take stones, you take water by itself, all are just ignorance. And hence this Dravya Shakti is combination of 5 tanmatras and 5 elements. What are the 5 tanmatras? It's very simple. The sound, touch, form, taste, smell are the tanmatras. And ether, air, fire, water, earth are the 5 elements. But there is a connection. What is the connection? From sound, ether got produced. From ether, we got the sense of touch. Because of sense of touch, because of air, sense of touch has been felt. From air comes form. Because of fire, there is form. From fire comes taste. Because of water, there is taste. From water comes smell. Because of earth, there is smell. So that's why you see these are 10 elements of 5 tanmatras and 5 elements in total. So you have 10 here, you have 10 here, 20, not this 10. So this 10, since this 5 tanmatras and 5 elements, and 10 senses 20, intelligence, prana and mind is 23, and the ahankara is 24. So these 24 forms the material elements, and that is the combination of Mahatattva. Okay? It may be very complicated for you to understand. I will send you this Excel sheet also. If you go through the purports once, twice, thrice, you will get the hierarchy. Once you get this hierarchy, it will take some time to get the hierarchy, but you need to spend once, twice, thrice. Once you get it, then you will not forget it. That's the whole point here. So that is what is explained in sloka number 21 to 35. So now, what does this mean to us is what we are going to conclude now. So this is what Brahmaji explains to Narada. So then Narada is asking, why all these things? He's asking, what is the role of a jiva and why all these things? So Brahmaji says, there are 2 kinds of living entities, jivas. One are called surrendered souls to the Lord. Rather than saying surrendered souls to the Lord, souls that are completely in devotion to the Lord. There are certain other souls who are rebellious in nature. Rebellious means, Mataji, can you keep this glass in that plate? That soul will not do that action. Instead, why? Why should I do that? Why you can't do that? See the difference? This is called rebellious nature. So there are certain souls that are rebellious in nature. So when a rebellious citizen is existing in a city, what the government does, he takes him and puts him into a jail. The purpose of putting that person in a jail is not to kill him, but to reform him. So similarly, in the spiritual world, there are 2 kinds of souls. One soul are fully aligned to the Lord. They serve the Lord for the pleasure of the Lord. They will not do acts that are against the Lord. Okay. But there are certain souls who are rebellious. They always question the Lord, always fight with the Lord, always argumentative, quarrelsome. So those souls need to be reformed, and those are the souls that are sent to this material world in order to go through the process of cleansing. Now, why so many layers, Prabhuji? It's very simple. See, today in jail, there are 3 classes of jail: A class jail, B class jail, and C class jail. Now, if you look at this A class jail is simple jail. The regulations are also very simple. You'll be left out very freely. You can do whatever you want. The rigorous of punishment also is very less. But in a C class jail, you may not even be let out. You'll always be in a dark room. You will be tortured a lot, things like that. So the level of the jail grade is also on the level of rebellious nature that that prisoner possesses. So similarly, we living entities, because we are part and parcel of Krishna, are very powerful. See, one living entity, because he got empowerment, he became Hiranyakashipu. And what did Hiranyakashipu do? He went, Hiranyaksha, he was even able to move the mother earth and put her into the soil, into the Garbhodaksha Ocean. That powerful the soul is. The soul can move a planet. That is the power of a soul. So, but in our case, because we are into the final residue and so much of curtailment that we've gone through, that's why we don't have any strength or anything. Otherwise, they are very powerful, very powerful. Just like Hanumanji, who can fly and try to capture the sun planet. That is the power. So, because we are very powerful, Krishna had to create a complex material world system so that the rebellious nature of the soul is slowly reformed. Otherwise, what will happen? He'll break through the system, break through the jail or the system, and once again come to challenge Krishna. Now that we are put into this material world, what is the journey for us? What's the duty for us? Our duty and journey is very simple. We can take 2 paths. Birth after birth after birth, perform the same act of enjoyment, forgetfulness, and being rebellious in nature, and remain in this material world. But Krishna doesn't want that. Krishna wants us to come back to his place. So Krishna, while he is giving certain amount of difficulties, but he's also giving large amount of opportunities for us to realize. But rather than realizing, we are getting to enjoyment mode. And that is the cause of problems. So, the objective of this material world is to reform and go back home to God. And that's what Krishna wants us to do. That's what Krishna is giving us chance again and again. If the object of the material world is to torture and kill us, Krishna would have destroyed us long time back. But that's not his objective. That's why we continue to live in different bodies time and again. So this is the real purpose. So to execute that purpose, Krishna has created what is called as the yoga process. While you are in the material world, Krishna gives all those ingredients of yoga process by which you can take it, practice it, realize your true identity, and go back to him, back to Godhead. That is the key aspect. So if you're able to understand this much, then your goals are very clear. Why am I born here? I am not born here to do something else nonsense. I'm born here to reform myself. Born here to shape myself. That way I can reach the spiritual world. So this is what Krishna wants us to do. And hence he's created a system of Mahatattva, something like this. Okay. So I will stop here. If you have any questions, we will answer them. I'm sure you will all be wondering why it is so complicated.
Yes, Prabhu. Prabhu, when we were reading the Chatusloki, in that it says the pradhana, it will be in an undifferentiated state. By the glance of the Supreme Lord, it get differentiated into Mahatattva. It's the same, isn't it, Prabhu?
Same.
Yes.
So that's why we gave the example. We gave the example of a banyan tree seed.
Yes.
We gave the example of someone mixing sambar at home. So you can see when the ingredients are in a separate state, they are not really active. Nothing can be done. But once you get them together and use the right influence of fire or electricity or things like that, it changes. That's what is activity all about.
Yes. We have to read and reread, Prabhu. Then we'll get doubts. We'll come back to you.
Please read. This the reading that will help you to clarify. And once, twice reading won't help. You have to read and think. So I'll send this document also to you. Keep this and say, okay, what did Prabhu say? What does the literature say here? What our Acharya is saying? Then you get clarified. And first of all, get used up with all the terminologies. What is Kala, Karma, Swabhava? What is Pradhana? What is Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Karana Shakti, Dravya Shakti? What is all these things? So get used with all the terminologies. Be very clear with the terminologies. Then go into the reading. If you don't get the terminologies registered by heart, then you will always be wondering, okay, why is saying this? What does this mean? Again, you'll go back. So get the terminologies in place, then you can get it. Okay?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, so in the next class, what we will be doing? So now we only did Karna Shakti. The next class we'll do Karya Shakti. Okay. So before I do the Karya Shakti in the next class, I want you to spend time to be well prepared and post questions in our WhatsApp group. We'll try to clarify the answers. Okay. So once the answers are clarified, then you'll be much better. So you should very clearly know what is Karma Shakti, what is Karya Shakti, and what is distribution, both of them, and who does what. So now Karma Shakti is done by whom?
Mahavishnu.
That's it. Now there are one more concept you have to understand. Prabhu, what happens between Karnodaksha Vishnu's Karna Shakti and Garbhodaksha Vishnu's Karna Shakti? In Garbhodaksha Vishnu is just one single universe. But in Karnadaksha Vishnu, it is Karna for all the universes. It's a collection of universes. That is the difference. So consciousness also is singular versus collective. So that is the massive aspect of this Purusha avatar that Mahavishnu is performing. So you see how insignificant we are. If we understand how significant we are, we will become very humble in our life. Okay?
Yes.
We will never think, oh, I am the doer. Nah, what are we doing? Nothing we're doing. We're just acting because Lord is making us to act. Okay? If you understand the subject very clearly, your bhakti will increase. Oh, I know, Lord, all these things. I know why you're making me to do this. Your bhakti will increase. You will become sober. You'll become a nice, sweet personality to everyone. And you'll not be attached to anything in life. Otherwise, attachment, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want this, I want to control. Oh, okay. Everything has to be smashed. If we are not smashing all those negative qualities in us, there's no way we can say we are going to be in the path of liberation. Our spiritual master has done the duty to put us into the situation now today, what we are. But practicing is our responsibility. We own our liberation, not our spiritual master. Please understand that. Okay? Spiritual master is just empowering us. So we have to practice. That's the key. Okay, thank you so much. I am also tired of speaking.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you so much. It is so complicated, needs a lot of focused reading and rereading.
Yes.
Okay.
So we finished the topic called what is called as Karna Shakti, Karna Shrishti. In the next class we'll do Karya Shakti.
Karya Shakti.
Karya Shrishti. Shrishti is creation. Okay. Then after that, there is only one topic in this Canto chapter 5 is Virat Rupa. Okay. So what is the now Virat Rupa connected to this? So once we understand these formations of planetary system, where Lord is acting, then we'll see how this Virat Rupa bewildered Arjuna. Once we merge both, then we'll see, okay, now everything clear from me. That's all. Okay?
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much for the wonderful class.
Thank you very much.
I don't know whether it's wonderful or complicated.
We'll go through and post questions, Prabhu, in the groups, whatever we have.
Please.
It's
It is wonderful because it's
complicated,
complicated, Prabhu.
So that's how I enjoy Bhagavatam. I enjoy Bhagavatam saying, oh, what a challenge it is. The VLSI descent did not challenge me. The Bhagavatam is challenging me.
Every time when we start going deep into that, we get confused and will stop. That is what is happening with me, Prabhu.
Okay. So ask
Other
question.
day you said, Prabhuji, in the at the center, right?
Huh.
So the Intel, your chip making, actually, this is less complicated than this science of
Yeah.
bhakti, right?
I thought the VLSI design was the most complicated doping technology. But that is nothing. Look at what this is. This is unbelievably large.
Yeah, I can realize that now.
Those things we can create, Prabhu, this VLSI and all those things. But these things we cannot create.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I heard from Sri Vaishnavas, Prabhu, but you have made it so simple and I could understand it very well, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Okay, good. So please read through. I will send that entire document, both the Word and document and the Excel document. Please use it as a supporting document. Read. Yeah. Thank you. Sandra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gurudev ki jai, Jai Gaur Premanande,
Hari Hari Bol.
Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyo, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavibhyo Namo, Ananta Koti Vaishnava, Vaishnava Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Tat
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dhanavad
Hare Krishna,
pranam.
Prabhuji. Thank you.
Prabhu,
To all Prabhus and
Thank you
Mataji.
very much,
Pranam,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji.
Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat pranam,
Hare Krishna,
Prabhu.
Dandavat Pranam, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu,
Dandavata Pranam Prabhu.
Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavata Pranam Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat
Prabhuji explained so nicely. Thank you.
Pranam. At your service, Mataji. Okay, I'll end the class here. Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna.